This conference will now be recorded.
The intention is that all these meetings are recorded and provided on YouTube publicly. So I did check in with the process last week because we did the recording last week, but the process is not clear to me on how to make them available. So they're about once a week, somebody at the OCP office will go through and upload them, and then when I get notification that, I can bring that back, add it to the notes after the fact. The notes have usually gone out at that point, but I'll put it in the running notes list, and then I will also put it on the wiki. And that's the other thing that I set up last week. It's in the previous notes if you see up here. So if you have content you want to add the wiki is there to add there. I haven't made a huge amount of progress on that. I hope I don't know how many of you have been attending the broader sustainability meetings, the most recent of which was yesterday morning. Yesterday morning US time, and then the next ones, they're about once a month. But they cover topics like this, but I did want to do some pass downs in case you weren't all there. Many of you were. But the Sustainability Summit is in Hillsboro, Oregon on July 25th. I have submitted an abstract for a talk about capturing the progress made in this work group for that. I won't know whether that's been accepted as a talk for a couple of weeks, but I am planning on being there in person, and just want to make sure everyone knows that there's an opportunity to talk about our work there, as well as if you have other things you potentially want to talk about. There is a process for submitting abstracts to that. The other one is the OCP Global Summit is in San Jose in October. I don't have the exact date off the top of my head, but I just wanted to call out that this abstract deadline is tomorrow. I have also submitted an abstract for the state of this work stream's work to that. And we have also submitted an abstract for a panel, a sustainability workstream panel, kind of trying to cover all the work streams. So opportunities to potentially be part of those, or also if there's specific, abstracts you want to submit beyond that scope, happy to support as well. So just want to make sure everyone know about that. I especially wanted to make sure folks knew I was submitting abstracts to cover, the talks about the work that we're doing here.
Just very quick question. And also, I think Global Summit is 17th of October.
Sorry, Sri, cut out. What was your question in October?
I was saying the 17th, 18th October.
18th and 19th?
No, it's not 17th and 18th.
You're really cutting up, Judy. I'm not sure why.
Maybe.
I hope it's not my issue. I found my GoToMeeting really drains my computer. Yep, I got it in the 17th and the 19th. Great, thanks.
Okay, and I also had one question.
Mm-hmm.
The sustainability on 25th, is that a full summit only concentrating on sustainability, or is it just a workshop?
I don't know what the real name is. It's a summit or a workshop. Okay. It's a full day. It's in person and hybrid. So if you are available in person in Oregon, it's great. If you are just available online, it's totally fine too. But it's one full day, and I think it's probably a mix of presentations and discussions, and I think the intention is it's a meeting point to really build some momentum around the various new work streams, specifically around sustainability. So there's no other OCP work going on at this event, only sustainability work.
Is there a link to it?
Yes. How about I'll provide that in the notes. So that'd be look up. Or if somebody else has a link handy. It's a little bit weird because we're using a spare day from a different conference to for you're signing up to this one conference that doesn't look like a sustainability, but the sustainability day is one day of one room of their conference that they weren't using. So, but yeah, I'll try and provide the link myself. Okay.
Thank
Yep. No, just this last one is just FYI. I'm on vacation through the middle of July. Deb and VJ, neither of them can make it today, but they're planning on facilitating while I'm out. So the question is, well, first I'll go with number 2. We still are trying to get to the end of the 100% complete by the end of the month for the white paper. This means there's 2 meetings between now and then. But the question is, do you want to meet or cancel next week? So I think we're pretty good. I think we'll get to the 70% milestone today. So I think we're pretty good, but I think just looking for if there's available, if people are available, I think we could meet and Deb will facilitate since VJ is out. If there's not a quorum, then we might cancel. So it's kind of like pulling the room here.
Missed what date you mentioned actually.
Trudy, you're still breaking up. I can't get you.
I missed what date you mentioned.
What date are you talking about canceling?
Oh, next week. So it would be
22nd.
Yeah. Hey, Kelly, is Shruti coming through clear for you?
No.
Oh, so it's not just me. Okay. You just were better at interpreting the but it was getting cut out. Okay. Yep, it's talking about the 22nd. I'm hearing no strong opinions. I'm gonna just leave it on unless there's strong opinions to cancel. All right. We will have a meeting that Dad will facilitate. Great. All right. Now, 2 actions today. Anybody else have any other agendas items they want to do now that I got through kind of just operational aspects? Okay. So pulling up the white paper. So a bunch of edits got in here in the last week. So really great work, everyone. I'm not going to read the white paper to you. I do think we'll go through any open comments that are here. But I want to just kind of like set the landscape for everybody. Again, let's go back to original goal here. Original goal is to really frame the problem and kind of frame kind of the aspects that the second half of the year will cover in the specification and the reference implementations. So that's kind of the goal, is not to solve all the problems, but really just to make sure all the right problems are called out. The other thing is really these sub areas where we prioritized, 1 higher than others, and then we have data for the second one, which is awesome. And so what we said was, hey, we'll include things as we can get them in here. And, but if we don't, that's okay. And for now, I've moved these to future component additions, but I wanted to make sure people realize that this is, there's owners for certain ones of these called out down here. It's like memory, networking, storage. Well, storage is done. API layer is done. But if we want to build up some networking stuff, happy to include that if we want to. If we want to build up some other like PCB stuff, those are kind of the big ones I knew about that were not done yet. But we don't have to. It's not. It's okay to do that. Keep those out for now. So I wanted to just call that out as like, hey, we can add these in the future, not required. And then the last thing, there's maybe some higher level stuff that was added, and everything else has been moved down to the appendix that is not part of the white paper today. So any questions in terms of just scoping like the paper right now? Let me drop a link for, Cal, you probably don't have even a link. So it's easy if I do it this way.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're from Meta. But you'll have to send me an email or put your email in that you want added here. That's probably the easiest. Put it in the chat, and then I can add you as an editor here because you'll probably want to be added. Yeah. All right, so now here's the link for everyone, just in case you want to follow along. There's not a huge amount of comments in here, so this will be fairly straightforward. So right now, the business scenario which this API enables initially will be how Silicon Foundry can share the relevant sustainability information to a downstream customer purchasing and deploying its product in a data center. The comment is, it's many more clarity on pure play versus integrated device makers, boundary condition diagram, which is below now, clarify the scenario. Okay. This is a good comment, but I don't think I'm going to be able to address this here, but it's essentially, I think our business scenario we've crisped up since this initial paragraph was written, and it needs to be probably addressed. And so, anybody else have any thoughts on that? Sorry, I have to look. Just look at my thing here. Okay. Moving us on. So again, like I said, tons of new content in here. So take the opportunity over the next week to review this new content. And let's see. Actually, I did have a question for you, Shruti, because I saw you added, I think you edited some of this.
Right.
And I think probably what I would do for like the SSD section, if we could, can we just refer and scope this to the above IC section? I just feel like if we're gonna have a storage section, I love the HDD content, but I think, and I totally, we all understand that the SSDs are largely covered by the silicon stuff, but I think not everyone's going to understand that, and so I would just like a little bit of like a paragraph here or a few sentences at least saying how we're thinking about that and how, well, the bulk of this comes from this above section, but what else is there, and do we need to do anything specifically about that? So,
Okay.
I think it's just a confusing thing for people.
Mm-hmm. So I actually reached out to somebody at Kioxia and also somebody at Seagate. Seagate for the upper portion of HDD. So, he will make further changes probably in that. When I reached out to Kioxia, I sort of gave them a background. They were actually suggesting that we don't combine it with the ICs. So I want to it was just like a first discussion for them to understand what this white paper is trying to do. So it wasn't much. I want to have one discussion with them. If they can, sort of help us understand why shouldn't we combine it? Is there value in not combining it?
Yeah.
So that note over there.
Okay.
Yeah. I myself would not have that expertise, and that's why I reached out to Kioxia for that.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Thanks. That's great. I'm glad you're doing that. And yeah, I don't want to push it in a direction it shouldn't go, which is why we're trying to, pull the right efforts, and stakeholders into some of these things. I'm just saying there's still like some other stuff here about like tape and controller and stuff like that. So maybe we'll just we have to make a decision at some point what to do with that. So the API, I had a couple, I was out of this API section, just kind of frame that, okay, one of our outcomes is API. So I just put comments for us to discuss here today. So, we had discussed last week in terms of, hey, the complexities of the schema and how do we accommodate the various levels of existence of data, missing data, and various other things. So I was like calling that out as like a design criteria of a flexible schema. And I was like, well, I don't know if dynamic is a better word or something like that. I don't know. So I don't know if anybody has any strong opinions on the naming there. So we can resolve it offline in the comments. And then the last thing, so the other thing we've talked about multiple times is based on who the caller is, you might get different data back because some of the data we're building for is IP data and specific protected data that certain people only want to provide to certain consumers. And so there's an authentication aspect, and what you get back depends on who you are and what level of permission you have. I wrote authentication-based return values, but I swear there's got to be a name for this, but I don't actually. I couldn't think of what the name for returning different data based on how you've authenticated is. So I didn't know if anybody had a name for that off the top of their head. So.
Is the attempt that finally the device can be queried to get this data?
That, it's actually it's a great question. I think we need to. I called it out as the ecosystem repository, but maybe that needs to be addressed a little bit more directly. There is, in some of the just informal discussions we've had, there is like ideas of like, oh, there's a database hosted somewhere that is then queried. But there's also ideas, just exactly what you said, Shruti. There, and I did document this here, like the Redfish interface for the management of the device, there is ideas that it's able to return the API and return it. But that's like at the baseboard management level, like managing the server. And it would likely be then with internally querying the device for the data. I think it's probably a design question, and we should probably get crisp on it. Probably some prioritization here. So I'm going to say, when you say device, I'm going to say component. Is that an okay word to use because it's a piece of a server? Then sometimes people think of devices as the server. Is that what you meant, Trudy?
Sure, I thought of an HDD and said, but component is fine too. was thinking of an HT and I said device,
Yeah.
but yeah.
No, it's a good question. Okay. Well, we're at the end. There probably should be a conclusion here. Great. So the next, anybody else have any comments they want to provide right now? Because the last agenda item for today was actions and owners for driving us to the end. So I think it sounds like you've got one there, Shruti, to complete the facilitate, next review on 622, Shruti to provide additional content with domain experts on storage. Sure, I do want to just say, like, I know that you signed up for that, now admittedly not a domain expert on storage, and so I know this is probably challenging, so I just want to say thanks for taking on what is a challenging thing. TBD to write the conclusion and close open comments. I'm going to give that to Deb if that's okay. Is there any other actions you all think, and then all needs to review current content?
Is there a section about embodied carbon for networking devices?
That's actually, maybe you didn't hear me say, that's right now is here. We need somebody like you in the networking space to contribute that, or we'll just have it as something we'll tackle in the future. So do you want me to put you on that one to take that?
Yeah, so I can still update this document, right?
Yeah. Like people like to say document.
Thank you.
Thanks, Heshen. All right. Any other actions? Yeah, thanks, Shruti. I think we're almost done here. All right, then. There's no other actions. I think, like I said, I see the light at the end of the tunnel on this phase, and we can move to the next phase once we're done here. But I'll make sure you all know, like, when to come to the review at the larger meeting in mid-July. Make sure you know the awareness of that agenda item well in advance, so we can all go and celebrate the good work that was done in this team here. Just kind of our numbers are dwindling down. Cali right now for 4, but we have probably about like 10 active members here. So, all right, I'm gonna just give some time back unless there's any other thoughts or questions folks have today. All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.